Two war criminals, a felon, and the dancing idiot pulling the puppet strings. Let's look into that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. So, I did some previous readings where I talked about how Elon was most likely blackmailing the felon. Putin was most likely blackmailing the felon as well. And Netanyahu was uh, used to help the felon get installed in the White House. I think that's all going to start crumbling down soon. And that's what the readings had showed before. If you look back on the video, I think it was titled Assassination Attempts and some other stuff. Um, the felon, Putin, and Netanyahu got terrible cards. If they didn't get the death card, they got the Ten of Swords. If I think Netanyahu got the Ten of Swords, the Four of Swords, and the Death card, all three, which points to a complete and utter downfall. And this is what I have been sensing for a while. The questions that I think we need to go through today are Europe's going to fight back against this, try to negotiate an end to the Ukraine Putin's war in Ukraine. There's going to be pushback against that. I think the pushback is going to be lead to some secrets being revealed, which will lead to Netanyahu's downfall. And um, what's the deal with Elon Musk? What's his motivation in this whole thing? That one's a little harder to figure out, but I think if you want to look at the beginning of the video entitled, I think it was like a visit from the past. It's the one with the picture of the boy in the striped pajamas on the thumbnail. I really think Musk's motivation really just boils down to the fact that he's a sociopath who's completely addicted to running the show. That's, in fact, the only thing he cares about. And so he will use whatever leverage he has to get that power. So let's first start with um, a couple questions about the negotiations around Putin's war in Ukraine. So the first question um, I would like to ask is, uh, will Europe fight back against any sort of negotiated peace process without them being involved? Here's the felon. Here's a lot of money. It makes sense. Um, so I think it's pretty clear that the felon has to be being blackmailed. Nothing else makes sense in the grand scheme of things. It's what the cards have said in the past. There's a lot of connections between Elon Musk, for entertainment purposes only. There's a lot of connections with Elon and Putin, Elon and Jeffrey Epstein, and possibly even some communication between Elon and Netanyahu. Maybe we should start with that question. Um, has Elon Musk been in contact with Netanyahu, in particular about manipulating the 2024 US presidential election? So I'm seeing a picture of like a briefcase or an attaché case being it's like almost like a scene from the French Connection. Um, secrets being passed around. So has Musk been in contact, or was he in contact with Netanyahu about manipulating the 2024 election? I think so. I mean, we get the Ten of Pentacles, lots of money, intergenerational relationships. They're not of the same generation, passing of money from one generation to the next. And money doesn't necessarily need to be money, right? It could be information as well. We get bombshells and surprises. They're trying to keep that quiet. It would be a bombshell, it would be a surprise. We get temperance underneath, and we get in the past waiting for one ship to come in and standing at a crossroads. That's in the past. It's already happened. And we get Russia involved as well in the sky. It's not surprising. I think I said this in a couple videos ago. Israel and Russia having an alliance would be kind of unthinkable, but Netanyahu having an alliance with Putin is not unthinkable. Netanyahu does not speak for all of Israel, and we need to be careful about how we frame things. Yeah, the near-term outcome was deceit, deception. You know, they don't want anybody to know this. They did it, in a very deceitful way. Probably used intermediaries. Wouldn't be surprised, and for entertainment purposes only, if Eric Adams was somehow involved in the relaying of information. What was it about? It was about Donald or about the felon. The King of Pentacles is my card for the felon. Uh, there's a lot of illusion and delusion around what they can get away with. The hopes and fears is the Ace of Cups. Surprising new beginnings. This could also be the revelation of something surprising that leads to a new beginning. And it might happen quite quickly with the Eight of Wands. Yeah, things coming to the surface. We get the Moon card. And we get the High Priestess. What's going to come to the surface? The dark energy that was at play in the United States election. And we get partnerships underneath. This is Musk and Netanyahu waiting for their ship to come in. What were they trying to control or suppress? This is the card for the Democrats. They were trying to keep the Democrats out of power. So I don't think there's much of a question that, in my mind, that Musk has been all over the place manipulating things either directly or indirectly. In this case, I think probably indirectly, using some intermediaries, not wanting to draw suspicion. So I'm just going to kind of go with the flow of where this is leading, and we'll see where we end up. The next question that kind of just popped into my mind right now was, you know, the felon revoked the security briefings for Biden and I believe Milley and probably some other people there that we don't know about. Is that um, was that done to keep the true plan from coming to the surface until such time as they were able to install um, their people in the military in these high level positions? There's a great article today. I can't remember which paper or which website it was about how they're passing over four-star generals and promoting people from within the ranks. And I think I even said that in one of the readings that, you know, the felon doesn't have the support of the four-star generals, but he has the support of the people underneath. So that's not surprising. So were these security clearances revoked, rescinded, information being withheld to uh, make it harder for any public accusations to come forward? So these might contain logs of, for example, phone calls between world leaders, intelligence from other countries, stuff like that. So was this an attempt to keep this whole racketeering thing at bay? Yeah, I mean, it's to defend themselves, right? They can't just let it out what they were up to manipulate the election. We'll get more into that, although there's some videos on that already. The challenge was a message getting out and a fiery message getting out. They couldn't allow that to happen. So they just suppressed a bunch of people from receiving information, which started this beginning of this like fiery new form of leadership where we basically just ignore all norms and practices, and we go about turning things over to unelected people like Elon Musk. In the past, we have the fool. This was the new beginning. This was, around the point of the inauguration when the felon took over, new partnerships forming between those two. But in the near future, things are going to happen. I don't know how they're going to happen yet, but they're going to happen. And it's going to be explosive. And it's going to be shocking. And it will change the way that everybody perceives the felon, not just people that oppose him, but people that supported him. I really think it will change a lot. Um, yeah, I mean, we get the wheel of fortune. Which direction is it turning? Is it turning in his favor or other favors? Well, it seems to be turning towards someone who's a very passionate leader. I don't think we can say that about the felon. I don't think he cares to lead. I think he cares to pass his duties off to someone else. And in the hopes and fears we get judgment, this is very much a hope. We hope that there is judgment passed on what was done and what is currently being done. And we get the King of Cups. This is the Democrats. I think um, they're going to try to investigate. There's a lot of people going through some sleepless nights, in particular, career CIA officials, career military personnel, people that swore an oath to defend the Constitution that actually don't really know what to do at this point in time. Um, and so they're contemplating what to do, and they might not know the details of all the plans that were in place. They just know something doesn't make sense. And here we go. We get the emperor, we get the abuse of power, we get the presidency. It's going to get exposed. It's just a matter of time. And timing, is very hard. That could be 6 months from now. It could be a year from now. It could be after the felon has left the planet. Um, Circles of support and celebration, isolation, feeling alone. We do get the courts. That's good. The courts in the church. I think I mentioned this in another reading earlier that, you know, I believe you're going to get a new pope either this year or early next year. And I think that might actually change things because right now we're at a crossroads and we're waiting for the cycle to end with the world card. So it's kind of like we're in the state of this hanged man feeling, this very suspended state. We don't really know how to proceed. And it's not just us, the citizens, and I should preface that probably with informed citizens, because there are lots of people in this country that have no idea what's in the United States or in the world too. They have no idea what's going on, nor do they care. They don't, I mean, I'm a very, I'm the person people come up to in the grocery store and start conversations with. That's just, for whatever reason, that is the energy that the universe has given me. So strangers talk to me all the time, and they're completely unaware of things. Like these things don't even enter their mind. All they know are that egg prices are too high and that they're worried about their families. That's basically what I gather. Okay, so Europe, I think, is going to fight back. So let's look into that. Is Europe going to fight back against the US and the felon in particular? Because again, I don't think the felon speaks for the US, just the same way Netanyahu doesn't speak for Israel. And I think a lot of the world knows that. Um, is Europe going to push back against Russia and US in the US trying to negotiate some sort of peace deal with to end Putin's war? In particular, are they going to push back against the felon? I think there's this huge worry that in Europe that, okay, give me a second. Okay, I can see Macron talking with the current German leader and the current British Prime Minister. And in the water, okay, it basically, in the water, it says NATO's dead. What I think that means is that the Europeans no longer trust the US to fulfill their part of NATO. So I don't necessarily think the US is going to pull out of NATO. I don't think it actually matters because I don't think they'll fulfill their obligations anyhow. So we're basically not in NATO in some sense. But Zelensky talked about Europe getting together and forming their own alliances. So will Europe unite to stand up to the felon? And there's a lot of worry about money and the economic costs, in particular in the eastern part of Europe. See what the cards say. So, will Europe unite and stand up to the felon? There's a lot of dark energy, and that's at the center. So they have to do something, right? There's this malevolent presence, so to speak, of Putin and the felon. And, you know, Vance is just a tool. Don't read anything more into him than that. He will say whatever he needs to say to be in the good graces of the felon so that he can become, the president, um, by winning an election. Now he might become president by another way, but he's just trying to one up Musk. That's why he met with the far right party in Germany. It's just about one upping Musk. But what he doesn't know is that Musk is blackmailing the felon for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so there's all this dark energy that they're having to deal with. And the challenge is how do you get away with forming an alliance to defeat all this deception? So we get the Seven of Swords again. This isn't surprising at all that the Seven of Swords has popped up a couple times already. It's about deception, it's about theft, it's about misleading things. So they already know that they can't trust anything that comes out of the United States. They know that. They're not naive. Just like Canada and Mexico knew how to immediately respond to the tariffs, Europe is going to know what to do, I think. I think they already have a plan. This is the concern, though. They feel like they're going to be left out in the cold, and quite literally, in the case of Eastern Europe, if Russia were to cut off, gas supplies and stuff like that, they might quite literally be left out in the cold. Um, in the past, there were messages about money. I wouldn't be surprised if they intercepted some of these messages. These, it doesn't have to be about money, right? It can be about information, things of value. That's the way I view the pentacles. There are things of value. And we get the King of Wands in the sky. This is passion. This is strong leadership. This feels to me very much like the Zelensky type energy. Although I think he's somewhat fearful. Well, in the near term outcome, we get death and rebirth. This could be, you know, Europe's doesn't need to have a plan to defend itself because the two war criminals, Netanyahu and Putin, who the ICC have both called war criminals, and the felon, maybe one or more aren't around anymore in the near future. That could be the possibility. Or it could be the possibility that there's sort of a new beginning. Something happens to where they have a falling out, right? They all got terrible cards when we read on them the other day. And I'll link that video at the very top of the description. It was called Assassination Attempts and stuff. And all of them got very, very bad cards, hinting that they might not be around or in power for very long. We get the Page of Swords. This is a spy in the camp. It could also be immaturity. Here, I don't think it might not be either one of them. If you really look closely, she's walking a tightrope. I think that's how the European leaders feel right now, is that they're walking a tightrope and they don't know who to trust. They, maybe they can't trust anybody. Maybe they really are kind of in it on their own. Now, I do think they will form some alliances outside of Europe, such with, maybe with Canada, maybe with Australia. Um, we get messages coming in quickly and it could lead to some celebrations. Again, maybe it feels like something happens that this whole plan just kind of goes away. But right now, they're standing as the weary warrior. They're on guard. They're ready to act. So let's not think they're not prepared because they're prepared and they called an emergency meeting. But that I think was more to spur headlines than the fact that they probably have already been meeting, maybe not in person. And we get the Ten of Cups. This is about families, reunions, celebrations. We get the Ten of Pentacles, inheritance, intergenerational wealth transfers. But they're both tens, which is an end to a cycle, right? And I mean, it cannot possibly be any clearer than that. We get two tens, which are ends to the cycle, and then we get the world card, which literally, if you pick up a tarot book, will tell you it's an end to a cycle. and something new's about to start. Now, this could be a positive card in the fact that what's currently going on right now ends, or it could be bad in the sense of what has been going on for, with NATO in particular, that comes to an end. I don't think it's that. I think it's the craziness comes to an end. And I've always felt that. I've always felt like the craziness wouldn't last, that something would happen and it would come crashing down, and that would be of the end of it. Something would get exposed. Um, there would be some sort of, downfall for one or more people. Um, let's ask the question, do the Europeans, some of them, maybe not all of them, but does like France, the UK, Germany, the big players in Europe, do they know, does Europe know that Trump is being blackmailed? Do the Europeans know that Trump is being blackmailed? So the reason why I asked that question is sometimes I don't say everything that I hear because I don't know what it means, one, and I don't want to scare people. Um, I heard the phrase mutually assured destruction. I don't think that means nuclear war, so let's not panic. I think what that means is Europe has the dirt on Trump or on the felon. They're willing to spill it, but they know that that would mean the end to any hope of a trading relationship until the Democrats could get back into power. So, but the just concentrate on the water for a second. Okay. The felon doesn't know that they have that dirt. I think the dirt is a videotape. I think it's something undeniable. He knows Russia has it, and or he knows Putin has it, I should say. Just like Putin doesn't speak for all Russians, we need to be careful there. Um, and he knows Musk has it. I don't think he knows that Europe has it. I feel like Europe has successfully hacked some sort of communication system where they have the information of Musk, the puppet master, and Putin communicating or something along those lines. Does Europe have the dirt on Trump? Does Europe know that Trump's being blocked? I'm seeing the Sun card, which is not the biggest yes card you can get in the tarot, but I don't always read tarot that way. Well, we're at a crossroads. That's certainly true. Decisions are being made. The challenge is taming the passion and doing what is correct for Europeans. So, what I'm getting from that is taking down the felon might not be in the best interest of Europeans. We get the people underneath, they're concerned about the citizenry. they're concerned about the repercussions of what that would mean to basically have a hostile relationship or even more hostile relationship with the United States. And again, in the past, we get intergenerational relationships. That's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about the next generation. They feel rather confined in that they can't necessarily proceed without causing great harm. Not that they wouldn't cause harm to the felon, because I think they would. They're worried about the harm they're going to cause to themselves. And here we get, again, in the near term future, we get deceit and deception. They're going to play this coyly. Deceit isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like if you're playing poker with the felon and you're setting on the goods, you don't want him to know that you have the goods, right? It's that type of deceit. It's 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 not letting him know because once he knows, that changes the ball game. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of sword energy here. We've got the Seven of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and now the Nine of Swords. Lots of sleepless nights, contemplating how to slay the dragon. The dragon here, I think, is metaphorically the felon, Putin, and Netanyahu, kind of all three. How do we progress forward as a planet? Um, so a lot of thought is going into that. We get judgment. They know that whatever is done is going to cause, judgment to rain down on many, many people. The angel here blows the horn and raises the dead, right? Um, they're waiting for their ship to come in. They're waiting for the right time. They want to get the maximum benefit with the least amount of damage. They fear being left out in the cold, quite literally left out in the cold. They rely on Russia, especially the Eastern European countries rely on Russia for a lot of gas to heat in the winter. But we have fiery messages. They're there and there's fighting. I think there's fighting amongst the leaders of the European Union, like Macron and the Prime Minister of the UK, the leader of Germany. That's probably the big three that are involved. There may be some others. Um, there's fighting about what to do with this information, but they have it. They know it would lead to a fiery new beginning, hopefully moderation, hopefully stability. They hope that they're protected, and it leads to reunions and celebrations. We do get the Four of Swords. Maybe they might also have information on Trump's health, or the felon's health. And I try not to use his name, but I slurp sometimes. So I think Europe knows. Okay. So what about Netanyahu and how does he fit into this whole scheme? So in the readings I did on the election interference, I said, Netanyahu refused to sign any peace deal until after the election to benefit um, the felon in the election. And that's what happened. All you needed to do was go to a college campus and realize things were not going to go very well for the Democrats. Let me rephrase that. That's not true. All you need to do is go to a college campus and realize things were not going to go well for Vice President Harris. The Democrats actually did a lot better than she did as a whole. And that's because, I mean, there were signs, accusing her of genocide on campuses. It was just hard to handle all the mis and disinformation. So I think the question I want to ask, and I feel drawn to ask, and I think I know the answer already, and I think we all secretly do. So it was reported that Egypt warned Netanyahu that October 7th, the attack was going to happen. Congressman McCall spoke that the US had also warned uh, Israel that the attack was going to happen. Netanyahu's always denied that. Of course, he has to. But did he actually do that? Did Netanyahu willingly let the October 7th attack happen so that he could use it as an excuse to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip for entertainment purposes only? Did Netanyahu? Yeah, I've seen the page of cups, bombshells, and surprises. Seen the tower as well. People of Israel will not handle this information well if it can be proven. He's not terribly popular as it is. Did he knowingly let it happen? Oh. We get the Seven of Wands. This is, in this depiction, contemplation, getting ready to defend oneself, preparing for a defensive action, or what we'll call defensive action. The trouble or the challenge was, how do you get away with it? We get ill health underneath. I think this is ill mental health. I do. I think it's like delusional thinking of like whatever motivates them, and for whatever reason that they have a severe hatred uh, of Islam and of Muslims and of Arab people. That's what's driving that. Here's the tower. It already happened. This is the decision to let it happen. This is what I was seeing. Oh, he let it happen. He was probably the only one that really knew he was letting it happen, with the exception of maybe two or three of the far right wing people that he's close to that are in the Knesset. In the near term future, though, we do get some passion, some leadership. I think this is actually going to come from the other Arab states. We get confinement. We get the Queen of Cups. This is steadiness, stability. All of these things are coming. They're not there now. The hopes and fears, we get pause and suspension. We're hoping this actually gets looked into, right? This is a hope. We pause, we suspend. We actually look into how that happened. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Empress card pops up here, because I think I'm getting that Russia helped Hezbollah plan this, but for entertainment purposes only. Waiting for one ship to come in. He was waiting for it to happen. We get the Knight of Cups. The message came forward. And we get the King of Cups. People were warning him. The messages were coming forward. He was getting the messages. He just didn't follow them. The wish fulfillment happened as the attack. He used it to enrich himself, not with money, but with power. And people just went along with it because they were shocked. It was kind of like in the US after 9/11, we all felt like, okay, I mean, it didn't, feel like there was time to ask what actually happened. It was like next thing you knew, we were bombing Afghanistan, right? Uh, we get intergenerational relationships, circles of support, celebrations. If one plan doesn't work, try another, and temperance. So I think he knew it was going to happen. I don't think he was 100% certain, but I don't think he did anything to try to look into it. So when it happened, he used it to his advantage. Let's ask the question though, did uh, Russia help plan it? Did Putin help fund, plan? Did Putin know ahead of time that Hezbollah was going to do this? Did Putin pass arms through Iran or through Syria to Hezbollah? Putin really planned the attack on Israel. The image from Indiana Jones, I think it's the Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first one where, they're in the German army, I won't use the N word, and they're pushing little people around on the map as they're trying, as Indiana Jones, and maybe it's The Last Crusade. And yeah, because his dad was there, Sean Connery. They were trying to escape and they walked through like this map room of maybe they were in a fireplace and things were turned around, something along those lines. I just got that kind of image. Yeah. So we get the miser hanging on to his money, knowing death is coming. The challenge was how to juggle the money, how to get the money there so that he could cause the death and destruction. But he had circles of support. This was Iran, I feel, and Hezbollah. Okay, here's the sun card I was seeing earlier. It's in the past, though. Full illumination. I think Israel's well aware, well, maybe not Israel, but Netanyahu's well aware that Russia was behind this. And again, just doesn't care because it benefited him. We get a message about money coming forward, although it's coming slowly. And here are the people of Gaza, they're just left out in the cold. We get isolation. We get trying to keep the secret contained, defending. The hopes and fears, we get the world card, we get the end of a cycle. That's a hope. We hope that this all will be revealed. We hope that everything will come to light. Here's the offer of money. I wouldn't be surprised if he planned the whole thing. The fiery leadership, passion. Yeah. The Six of Coins or the Six of Pentacles, the exchanging of money, repayments of debt, this for that, quid pro quos. And we got a fiery new beginning. The spy in the camp. That was Putin. We get the card for the felon. I think I think a lot of people knew a lot of things and didn't do anything um, for entertainment purposes only. So let's ask a few more questions. And I know this is a bit of a ramble, but I'm just kind of going where the cards are taking me. I want to ask a question about Musk, but before I ask that, will these secrets be revealed? Let's give these cards kind of a cleanse. Will these secrets be revealed? Kind of knock the old energy out of them. Secrets be revealed. I think it's a matter of timing. Seeing the hangman, I think there's a lot of contemplation. I think Europe knows most of this stuff, or there are people in the US government that know these things that aren't necessarily Trump loyalists or the felons loyalists. Will these secrets be revealed? And don't worry, the resistance wins. I've already read on that. Well, what's going to happen in the meantime? Secrets. I'm seeing the hanged man. In my 2025 predictions, I said there'd be a very public suicide. I thought that had already happened. I'm not so sure anymore. There's been lots of suicides that have been public. I wonder, getting the sense that that happened. Or something made to look like a suicide, maybe. So strength. It's a matter of do they have the strength to reveal the secrets? The challenge is getting the truth out and to be believed. That's going to be an issue for a while. There are people that will believe anything the felon says. On the other side, there are people that will believe, you know, that Elon Musk used Starlight to change votes. And I mean, you're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. But the problem is when the truth gets murky, and right now we're in this murky stage of what actually is the truth, and I don't know that we actually know what the truth is. Um, all the time on all the situations, the media certainly feels like it can't be trusted most of the time. So they have the strength. The problem is getting it out in a way to where it's believed because there's a lot of dark energy out there that has trained the psyche and the citizenry of the world not to listen. I mean, try watching a movie with somebody and see if they don't pick up their phone, right? We don't listen anymore. I'm not trying to lecture. I'm just saying that the attention spans have been so shortened that this is a long and complicated story. It's not like something you can fit in a headline. It's going to need to take some time to be revealed correctly. So we get circles of support around money. It's in the past. This is information gathering. I think a bunch of intelligence agencies, probably in Europe, could be elsewhere, um, they've gathered the information. They have it. They just don't know how to. Here's the hangman that I was seeing. They're stuck. They have the information. They're stuck. They're trying to figure out what to do with it. They're pausing. They're reflecting. They're not sure how to proceed with it in the most effective way to stop the craziness, but also to keep their citizenry protected. But there will be a message coming forward in the near future. We get confinement, feeling trapped. We get the Ten of Pentacles. So vast sums of money, inheritance, intergenerational relationships. I'm just going to say what I'm feeling, and it could be right, it could be wrong. I almost feel like somebody comes forward, reveals it all, something very kind of akin to Edward Snowden or WikiLeaks, and then they disappear um, on purpose, like they're made to disappear. Um, that's what I'm feeling. And maybe that's how the information gets out because in the hopes and fears, okay, we get victory in the hopes and fears. And that's like a forward march too. If you look at the horse and the way it's moving forward, right? Progress starts again after the victory. And in the outcome, we get the Four of Swords, ill health, mortally wounded. These secrets will take them down. The problem is they're just so salacious to get the attention span to understand all the intricacies is, I think, going to be difficult. And there's going to be a lot of fighting about how to do it. There's going to be fighting about how it was done, if it is done. There's going to be a lot of fighting. But the fiery message comes out. It just does. I'm not sure how, um, underneath intergenerational relationships, thinking about what's best for the next generation. Someone feels isolated and alone. Here's the Page of Cups. I was seeing bombshells and surprises. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna come out. Okay, the last question I want to ask is about the puppet master, Musk. He's pulling the strings because he's got dirt on, for sure, the felon, possibly others. He knows the whole plan because he was involved in it around the US election. He might not know the plans around some of the things Putin and Netanyahu were doing on their own. But why is he doing it? This has confused me for a while. And every time I try to get into his energy, I get this like crazy headache and it's like right behind the ear and it feels like it's hot even. It's like a throbbing hot pain. But it's like his energy is the weirdest energy I've ever, well, maybe not the weirdest. I've read on some cold cases over the years, and there's some similar feelings. Yeah, his energy's similar to John Wayne Gacy for entertainment purposes. That had a very similar feeling when trying to figure out how he got away with those things for so long. Why why is Musk doing this? Why is he playing the puppet master? I'm seeing the devil card. It could really just be that simple. He could just be addicted to power. Also seeing the Emperor card, which is about abuse of power. Why is Musk doing this? It feels so in the water, I'm seeing like a hot air balloon and a person in the basket just waving as if this is like fun. I'm assuming that's Musk. It's like it's a game, no more, no less. Very bizarre. Why is he doing this? Well, we get Russia. It's interesting. Or the card for the mother. We need to keep in mind it could be that. He's waiting for his ship to come in. That's the challenge. What is he waiting to come in? Get anxiety, sleepless nights. Maybe he's got sleep, like maybe he's sleep deprived. Maybe he's one of those people that only sleeps a couple hours a night because he's doing other things. It's been rumored that, for entertainment purposes only, that he partakes in some illegal substances. We get the Eight of Cups in the past. This is walking away from things that no longer serve us. We get the Three of Swords in the sky. Be a heart attack, be heart issues. I don't know what his religious beliefs are. I don't know if anybody else does. If you do, let me know. Could he possibly know he's ill and he's just doing this because he can? We get the King of Swords. He wants to be thought of as a steady leader. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think that's going to happen. Planting seeds. If one plan doesn't work, try another. Whatever he can do to garner this persona of someone that's respected and well thought of as being smart, and I don't think he's smart, by the way. Now, I live in a neighborhood with a lot of college professors, so I might, I don't think I'm smart. So, you know, it's kind of who you surround yourself by. Star card of protection. He feels like he can get away with anything. The hopes and fears is he hopes he can keep his plan a secret. But the truth is coming. We're going to figure out what his motivation is. We get forward momentum. It's chaotic. You get the card for the felon. You get judgment. Circles of support, reunions, apathy, justice, giving and receiving of money, repayments of loans and debts, abuse of power, presidency. It's like his way of being, of gaining control. We get things coming to the surface, pausing in suspension. We get a new start, and then we get a complete and utter downfall with the Ten of Swords. I think he's got a lot of really crazy thoughts, and that's why we can't really pick up on why he's doing what he's doing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. From a business point of view, it makes no sense whatsoever. So I don't really know what to think about that. Okay. Let's leave it there. That was a pretty long reading. Thanks everybody who's subscribed, likes, comments, watches, people that have donated to the channel. Very much appreciated. I have a poll going on. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you can vote on which tarot deck I'm going to buy next for the channel. Um, all right. Thanks, everyone.